Hello, मैं हूँ नीवा जैन. Welcome to Zee Business and welcome to another episode of The Big Idea. आज हमारे साथ है खास मेहमान Mr. Alok Mittal. He is indeed a true blue serial entrepreneur, having been in the game for the last 20 years. काफी dynamic है, काफी unique है. His story as we catch up with him in his Gurgaon corporate office. Hello Alok, great to have you on The Big Idea. You truly represent The Big Idea, लेकिन अभी आपका जो Indifi Technologies है, it is more of a startup,
yes,
as we had discussed. But let's just backtrack Alok. हमारे साथ share कर लीजिए your 20 years of entrepreneurial startups and ventures that you've been involved with.
Sure. So, thank you for having me here.
Thank you.
I'm an engineer by training and by heart. So I, grew up here at IIT Delhi. I did my computer science, went to Berkeley for my masters, and actually for the first 3 years worked in satellite communications. So I was doing hardcore, serious engineering stuff.
Wow.
99 started my first company called Jobs Ahead.
Correct.
That was a recruiting
The
board.
biggie.
Well, I think we managed to do something interesting there. So started that in 1999.
You're being very modest. What was that experience like?
Amazing. We were 27, both Puneet and I, who was my co-founder. So it was at the right time. We hit the dot-com boom.
New India.
Internet was very promising at that point in time. We were going to change the world within 2 years. And then we went through the bust. And that was equally instructive in what it takes to build companies. Just the perseverance, hard work, and relevance to the customers. So we went through that whole cycle, built a good business. Monster acquired our company as part of their India expansion plans. So that was in 2004.
अच्छा, जब आपने सोच किया था to sell it, आपको कैसे लगा? I mean, at the end of the day, it was your heart and soul, your perseverance. Was it about the money at that stage to sell, or what would you?
Money always plays a role in these decisions, but I think more significantly, it was about carrying that vision forward. And we thought that with a large partner like Monster, Jobs Ahead could go much further than where we would be able to take it ourselves.
Correct.
Right? So it is a mix of those factors that played into it.
When you didn't stay on after that?
I stayed on for the transition period about a year. To just make sure that the business was handed over appropriately. So I came out of that in 2005. And at that time, landed up starting the Indian Angel Network.
Yes, another famed.
Yeah, along with a few co-founders there.
Right.
And honestly, that one got started as a club. But it has just grown to be something much more significant. Right now, there are 400 members who invest through that club, and we've invested in about 100 companies.
Which ones?
So these would be, many companies, software companies like a No Cross or a Dhruva Software. Internet companies. We have a food company which has a roti maker. Mukunda,
it's very diverse.
Very diverse set of areas. And really, in terms of kick-starting the entrepreneurial ecosystem, at that time the angel investment was not in vogue. Right? So for a network to come together and be able to do this institutionally,
it's a biggie.
Turned out to be a biggie. I don't think any of us saw it. I don't think any of us saw it when we started. And now, apart from what we do at Indian Angel Network, there are literally half a dozen other networks which have come up on the same format.
Correct.
Right? Mumbai Angels, Hyderabad Angels, Chennai Angels. So just that format has picked up a lot.
So you had the first mover advantage, of course.
We have the first mover advantage, but also the satisfaction that comes from being able to contribute to the ecosystem.
Correct.
So I see this less in competitive terms and much more in terms of how it enables entrepreneurs to come up and pursue their vision.
I want to add in जो एक चीज़ काफ़ी interesting है आपके बारे में कि you work very well with partners. You've always had partners, and with partners you have flourished. Share with that. I mean, where does that element come in?
I think it is a fundamental limitation of a startup that leads you to partner.
Okay.
Right? It is also the ability
Be
to
honest.
recognize that different people can bring different capabilities to the table.
Inputs.
And you can really grow fast and be meaningful
with
when you
partners,
leverage
yeah.
those, rather than trying to build everything on your own.
On your own as
Right.
a single entity.
So yeah, you're right, right? So Indian Angel Network was all about creating a peer group. Again, I was fairly young at that time, and I had in my co-founders that ability to bring together a group of individuals who can work together in a non-reporting context.
Amazing.
Right.
That's huge.
After that, I worked for a venture firm, and in venture firms there are no CEOs, right? You only have partners inside the firm and outside the firm with entrepreneurs.
Correct.
So yeah, in that sense, in some sense, I've been lucky to be able to benefit from people around me. And in no small measure, that's contributed to whatever success
Your
I've been able to generate.
exponential growth, I find that very exciting to say serial entrepreneurs, because it's no small feat. I mean, you're sitting in front of me, it looks like it must have been so easy the way you are conveying it, but it must have been a toughie.
The exciting part is it's hard every time, right? So
I like that. Okay.
Doing serially doesn't change that.
Exciting part is it's hard every time.
Yeah.
Great quote. I'm going to quote you on that one. Okay, हमारे साथ share कर लीजिए Indifi Technologies. It holds a very unique space. It's a growing space. Share कर लीजिए.
So we are a platform for small business loans.
Micro and small.
Yeah, and MSMEs form bulk of the economy in a country like India, but unfortunately is the most underserved when it comes to debt capital, right? And that holds them back from growing, holds our overall economy back from growing. So there is a lot of emphasis today on making that segment flourish, largely through infusion of debt capital, right? There's a lot of policy action that's happening there. When we looked at the space, we realized that the two key issues why they are underserved is lack of origination channels. It's very hard to scale origination channels, right? It's very hard to go and sell one SME at a time. And lack of data, which can be used to underwrite those loans, right? And we think that both technology and data are at the right point of inflection to be able to solve those problems. So that is the founding thesis behind Indifi, to use technology and data to be able to solve origination and underwriting challenges.
That was your theory for Indifi Technologies.
That's the underlying.
Were you able to back this up with hardcore research?
So no, and I think that is a solution in making.
Okay.
We did start off with a fairly simple go-to-market, right? So what we have done is, again to your point earlier of being partner-oriented, we have gone and partnered with large companies who deal with a lot of small businesses. And hence be able to leverage, that reach. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And as well as the data that flows to them. So what we are realizing is, SMEs might be credit poor, but they are data rich. The unfortunate part is their data doesn't reside with them; it resides elsewhere in the ecosystem.
Okay.
And so we are trying to tap those points.
So you're trying to tap that ecosystem where the data resides,
right,
that you can use and leverage it to benefit the SMEs.
Absolutely. So many times our borrowers, you go to them and they don't realize what data they are leaving behind, right? And we ask them that this is your data, can we use that? And they're like, sure, I need a loan, right? Use what you need to use. So that is really what allows us to create a great experience, because SMEs don't have to share all the information now. A lot of that data is available, and those data pipes are getting broader. Right?
Okay. And which companies have you tied up with?
So we have multiple partners. We operate in 6 different segments today, from travel agencies to hotels to cab drivers to retail grocery stores. Some of our partners include Travel Boutique, Via, Shopcluse, Paytm,
the biggies.
Ola Cabs.
The biggies, yeah. Well, we've interviewed most of them.
Sure.
So interesting. Okay, आपकी revenue stream कैसे है? How does that work?
As I described, so we are a platform.
Right.
We serve the borrowers, and then we get lenders on board. Non-banking financial companies and banks who lend through our platform using the data that we are bringing.
Okay.
Right, and we then provide the full customer management services.
So the banks give you the cut.
So banks and NBFCs pay us a fee for doing that.
Okay, and what's your fee structure?
So our fee structure is based on them being able to not just make a loan but actually recover the loan. So they see that we have the skin in the game. So we tie our fee to how much money and interest do they recover, rather than what they disburse. So they find that exciting, because in some sense it takes their risk out and it aligns us with them as a service provider.
And their manpower required to be able to get that
we
bit
take
of
off all the operating
information.
costs of the
Exactly,
business,
you're
because we're running the
handling
full
it.
life cycle of the loan.
Yes. And this is a fairly new startup. One thing, and secondly, is this a growing space to be in? Would you say?
Yeah,
Because
so-
you have a first mover advantage today.
Yeah,
aaj aapke
absolutely.
paas.
Absolutely. I think the first mover advantage is certainly interesting. But what is even more interesting is, there is a gap of about $380 billion in this market.
That's a hell of a
Right.
lot.
So at some level,
$380
billion dollars. Yeah, that's the B. Yeah.
B word.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
we're
the
not
real
talking-
unicorn.
The real unicorn, exactly.
So you don't even, while the economy is growing and this gap grows with the economy because it's working capital financing, but even the existing gap is compelling enough to go out and solve for.
I've understood.
Right? So we are not necessarily trying to disrupt anyone, take share away. Our success will be dependent on how much can we solve the customer's problem, which exists somewhere.
Correct. आपके opinion में, what's your take on the e-commerce sector?
I think it's exciting, right? In any startup space, there will be companies that are successful, there will be companies that fail. But I think both from a consumer standpoint, as well as an economic efficiency and scale standpoint, e-commerce is great news, right? And if you look at each one of our own experiences, you'll realize that. Right? Today, I go home and, there is more than 50% chance on any given day that there will be an e-commerce packet lying at my home. Right? Now that frequency of purchase and that convenience in purchase is what will drive the business forward. Right? In the meanwhile, we'll keep hearing all the buzz around discounts, all the buzz around some startup failing, all the buzz around who made a unicorn, who lost value. But that is not important. Right? What is important is to build a solid business, build customer loyalty, service levels, right? And win.
Keep them robust, keep them going, right?
Yeah. So businesses run around customers, not around investors.
You made a very important statement, Alok, where you said it's not about the investors, about the customers. Aapke opinion mein, do you think that's been your USP, that everything you pretty much touch has just been so darn successful?
So I think sometimes we get lucky, right? And we must attribute the right merit to pure luck. But having said that, yes, I think there is a lot of distraction in the marketplace today.
That is exactly.
With regards to valuation, with regards to capital raise, with regards to how investors feel about you. The reality, and I've been in the investment business for 10 years, I've invested in more than 40 companies myself. The reality is, if you can build something that is compelling for the customer, investors will chase you. Right? That's the basis of success.
It's not about anointing the investor, right?
It is also not about anointing the successful entrepreneurs, right? Many times we have the tendency to put entrepreneurs on a pedestal.
Correct.
Right? It's not about that.
So it's about the customer,
It's
is
about
what
the
you're
customer.
saying, not
Absolutely.
the investor, not the entrepreneur, the
So
customer.
if you can solve for the customer's problem, if you can solve for that in a sustainably differentiated manner, I think that is what creates successful startups. And that's that must be true of us, but it's also true of many other entrepreneurs, who have come up, right? Look at companies like Bharti Airtel, right? It is an entrepreneurial story,
Exactly.
right? And I think the only thing they
All
care about.
entrepreneurial stories, it's a fact, what Sunil has done, Okay, tell us, where do you see Indifi Technologies 10 years from now?
So as I said, our goal is to offer a great experience to our customers who today are underserved. Over 90% of our customers don't have an alternate access to unsecured finance, and the size of the problem is huge. So in the next 10 years, if we can start to make some dent into that problem, we consider ourselves fortunate to do that. The problem is complex. There are very smart people in financial services industry. These problems exist because there are underlying infrastructure issues. But we think that the consumer adoption of technology and the data pipes, right, whether it is Aadhaar, whether that is GSTN, right, I think all those reinforce the kind of approach that we are taking. The challenge for us obviously is to use those, but at the same time be able to generate high credit quality. So what comes out of the pipe must be economically viable, and our lenders, banks and NBFCs must be able to make money using that. So that's the core challenge. But the size of the problem is so large that we don't even kind of dream of dominating the space. If we can be meaningful to the space, we'll be very successful.
Correct. In your opinion, what makes a successful entrepreneur today in the cutthroat competitive world that we are in?
So I think one of the things is to, as I mentioned, stay focused on the customer and stay focused on solving problems that are large.
That you said,
Right? As it happens, smaller problems have the same risk attached to them than solving large problems.
Right.
Right? So sometimes we gravitate towards solving the simpler problems and leave out the big ones.
Right.
I think smart entrepreneurs do exactly the opposite. They try to solve the big problems. They know the smaller ones will get taken care of.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, that's
So I think that's an important element. Right?
okay.
Certainly I think the partnership notion is equally important.
Okay.
I think I see a lot of entrepreneurs trying to build everything themselves.
Yeah, very good
And
point.
that I think just slows down the organization rather than trying to maximize the upside.
So be willing to
the
have
company.
partners.
Yeah, and
be
it
willing
takes
to-
give and it requires give and take when you do
Right.
partnerships. So we believe that that's the right model for us to succeed, and so we continue to focus on that.
Well, we have to thank you so much, Alok, for being on The Big Idea.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Very, very interesting, very fascinating. Your journey has been unique. Your journey has been, I'm sure, tough, but you've stood your ground and you've triumphed.
Absolutely, and it's been a lot of fun.
Wow,
Thank you
amazing.
so much.
We wish you all the best for Indifi Technologies.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Says Alok, the ethos that has defined my life is that there are more achievements ahead of us than behind us. Catch you next week. Until then, God bless you.